All right, hello everybody. This is Tyler with Arima Security Research. So today I'm going to talk about a question that I get asked a lot, which is, should I take a CompTIA exam and how should I do it if I decide to? So, the first question is, should you even bother? So if you've already got a career in IT support, networking, and security, you know, maybe. There's oftentimes regulations or Department of Defense directives, if you're in the U.S., that say you need this exam to work in this job. Whether you're a federal government or military or something, or you're going to be working with a company who works with the government or the military. Oftentimes, a Security Plus is not the only option, but it's kind of the least amount of trouble option. Same thing with the Network Plus is, can you do other certifications? Yeah, but the Network Plus counts, so you should probably do that one. If you're trying to break into IT from another field, like if you worked in healthcare and you want to transition over to IT, an A plus is probably a great place to start. If you worked in a field that had nothing to do with technology, an A plus is a great place to start. Can you go from no IT experience to passing a Security Plus? Yes. Is it going to be very, very difficult? Yes. If your goal is to work in cybersecurity, you got to keep in mind that these exams, these are baseline knowledge exams. You're not going to go be the world's greatest hacker because you passed a Security Plus exam. You're going to have a basic level of background knowledge about how to know enough about security so that way you can learn what you actually want to do. And now security is built on networking. If you don't understand the networking, you're not going to understand the security part very well. And, is the A plus necessary to do that? Depends who you are. Some people do the Network Plus just fine, then do the security and it's not so bad. Some people really need that A plus first. I can tell you, I came from a non-technical background, and I've been doing website programming, but from like little bitty projects. But most of what I was doing was not necessarily technology oriented, and I ended up going back to school. And the only reason I started taking them was because I saw the A plus, the Network Plus, and Security Plus would test me out of some classes. Well, long story short, that had evolved into, a lot of people need help getting through it. I saw that there were the kind of the 5-day fire hose courses. I'm sure they have formal names with fancy companies and all that, but that wasn't really my speed. I can absorb a lot, but I can't absorb a whole CompTIA exam in 5 days. Just, that's not going to work. Books, I'm not going to read the book. Some people do well with books. I call them unicorns. I've had a few people do well with books. I'm just not going to read it. It's going to take too long. I'm going to get bored. I'm going to fall asleep. I'm going to look like my cat back there in the background. I'm going to be done. Some video courses that you pay for. I've had a lot of people say, hey, I took this person's video course and I bought their book and I still failed twice by like 300 points. Can you help me? That's the one thing. Sometimes they work for some people, sometimes they don't. The one method that I have found that works for the A+, the Network Plus, and the Security Plus is to get CompTIA's Cert Master Practice. Get that material and look at ProfessorMesser.com, his free videos for the A+, Network, and Security Plus. Now, I'm not affiliated with Professor Messer. I never talked to him. We don't know each other, but his material, fantastic, and is a great supplement to the CompTIA material. You should definitely use them. And, so take a look at that, but you want Cert Master Practice as your primary source. Now, when you're going through that, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you know, a lot of stuff that you don't know. Now we're kind of getting into the how. So, sometimes you have to do it, sometimes you just want to do it, but as far as how you do it, anything that you don't know or you guess on, going through the Cert Master material, just, from the first pass down, you just have to write it down by hand. Get a notebook and a pen, and anything that you don't know or guess on, write it down by hand first. And then when you get, halfway through a section, like section 1.3, 1.4 or so, write out everything that you have from your handwritten notes in a Word document or a Google Doc or whatever, type it out from your handwritten notes. And then, do that, and then get to the end of a section, and then just make sure you understand what you wrote down in that section first before you move on to the next one. Because, these things go in chunks, they're pretty big chunks. And you really loop that, do half of a major section, write down anything that you don't know or guessed on, and then type it up at the end of that, kind of half a chunk of a section. And that sounds very, very simple, but it's very, very effective. If you take nothing else away from that, go buy a notebook and a pen, get Stairmaster practice, go do Professor Messer, and I hope that you pass. Now, that's what I did. And what I have discovered is that there are a lot of people who have their own initiative and they still want somebody to have one-on-one time with them. A lot of people that I see is once a week or once every other week for about 2 hours. It's to answer questions, work through topics, or something like, hey, I see this is the answer. I'm still not quite sure why. And oftentimes there's a backstory to that may or may not be apparent through the material. Now, there are gaps. It's not perfect. It's just the best system that I've seen. So, one-on-one time helps. If you're one of those people who wants some one-on-one time, click the link below and reach out to me, and we'll try to schedule a time sooner rather than later that we can get together, talk about your specific situation and what we can do moving forward. Most people, again, I see once or twice, once a week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes every other week for about 2 hours at a time. Some people I'm lucky to see once a month. Some people I'll see 4 or 5 times a week for 2-3 hour chunks. It just kind of depends who you are, what situation you're in. But I'm going to tell you the same thing as far as the method where I'm going to come in to help if you want to do it that way is when you have questions, we work through them. And there's really no substitute for one-on-one time if that's what you actually need. So, if you're already working in it, just go get CertMaster, blast through it, and take some practice exams and be done. That's probably all you're going to need. If you're trying to make a career change, you probably want some supplementary help. Totally fine. A lot of people do it. The point is that you pass. It is doable. I've had a lot of people do it with a lot of problems going on in their lives, and they still made it through. But you just have to accept that this is probably going to take 2 or 3 months, and you're going to have to give up some other things. You're going to have to say no to a lot of things to make enough time to study, right? Handwriting things down, typing them up, it's not the fastest thing in the world. You're not just clicking through flashcards hoping you remember it by the time the exam comes by. You want to retain this stuff to be useful in a job, right? It actually lines up with reality for the most part. Now, obviously, there's small things here and there, but once you decide to do it, you commit that you're going to be done in 2 to 3 months with whichever exam that you're going to do. If it's the CompTIA A+, Part 1, set a 2 to 3 month objective, plan for 2. If it takes you 3, okay. Same thing with the next part. You want to do the network exam, plan for 2 or 3 months. You want to do the security, plan for 2 or 3 months, maybe a little longer if you're going straight into it and don't have any programming or technology experience or security experience. But they're all doable. The question is just, how long is it going to take? And once you get to the end of the material, you're probably going to take 6 to 12 practice exams. Now, practice exams, simulate it. We can talk about the specific techniques of going through the practice exams, preparing for the real exam. That's something that we normally do, toward the end, maybe 2-3 days before you're ready to take the real exam. That's when we go through that kind of thing. But you're probably going to take 6 to 12 of them. You want to aim for high 80s, low 90s, getting through them because you know how to get to the answer, not just because you remember what the answer was. Those are 2 different things. So, when you can say I'm getting high 80s, low 90s consistently on practice exams, I've been through the material, hand wrote everything I didn't know, didn't understand or guessed on, typed it out, and doing well on the practice exams, there's a real high chance of you passing. There's no guarantees. There's a pretty good chance. So, moving forward, there's obviously a lot more we can talk about, and in a one-on-one session, we can get more into your specific situation. So if you're interested, there is a link down below to go to a platform where you can message me to set up a time that we can talk. and maybe if I'm not the right person, maybe you find somebody else there. That's still well and good. The point is that I want you to pass, right? So like more people with these certifications is a good thing. So again, if you have any questions, reach out through the website contact form and leave a comment here or on any of our pages. Somebody will see it and we'll try to respond as quick as we can. And if you're interested in one-on-one time, make sure you check out that link and reach out to me over there. And if there's anything else, just reach out. Again, this has been Tyler with Arima Security Research. Give us a like, give us a share, and we love to see you soon. Thank you.